Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Darlington, and I'm here to talk to you today about a brand new plugin called Sibilance. It's an intelligent de-esser, a little step above the average de-esser that you might be familiar with. If you're new to mixing and stuff like that, you might wonder why you need a de-esser. De-essers take away the harsh S and T and spitty kinds of sounds in a voice that are really not musical. We need some of that stuff to be able to understand the lyrics and the content, but we don't want an overabundance of that because especially at low volumes, those non-musical sounds really can poke through a mix and be very distracting. So Waves has developed a new technology that can separate the vowels and the formants and everything about a voice, separate that from the sibilant artifacts and identify them. And that makes this de-esser a little bit smarter than the average ones that we're used to. So I have here today a song by Emily Kopp called Hold Your Head Up, and I'm going to play you the verse. It's already been treated, and you can watch Sibilance work a little bit, and then I'll show you what I'm exactly doing.
Let your heart beat, move your feet, don't quit the fight till it's won. Hold your head up, never back down.
So you can hear that the vocal is still quite clear, but there's not a lot of extraneous S's and T's and sibilant noises that are going to really be non-musical and stick out from the mix. Especially when you hear the mix in a low level, those sibilants really poke through and you can tell that they haven't been treated. And if you were watching this waveform display, which is one of my favorite parts about the new plugin, I can actually see what's going on. Every time she hit an S or a T or something high up in the frequency range, you could see the detection circuit here react, and then you could see how much it's doing by this display at the top of the screen line. This is my vocal chain right here. I'm taking a little bit of harshness out with surgical EQ. I'm controlling the level with Arvox, another super easy to use plugin. A final EQ, I'm not really boosting too much highs because it was recorded fairly clearly. Then the sibilance, and then the ambience. So sibilance only has a few controls. It's very simple. It's basically a compressor. So you have a threshold at which point it's actually going to work. And as I turn the threshold a higher volume or lower volume, you can see it closing in on the waveform. So when you watch the wave go by, you can set it so that it's hitting the parts you want to hit and not others. So let me solo the vocal for you so we can really zero in and hear what's going on.
You've got a spark inside, igniting fire. I know 'cause I've seen it. You could be a force so great who makes waves if you would believe it.
And then the range control is how much I'm taking out, which is indicated up here. As I move it down to take out more, you'll see these waves dip down deeper.
You've got a spark inside, igniting fire. I know 'cause I've seen it.
Or less.
You could be a force so great who makes waves if you would believe it.
As always, the trick with any plugin is to make it not really audible to the listener. You want to do the job that you're trying to do, but you don't want to draw attention to the fact that something's actually changing. So you just rock the range amount so it's getting rid of the bad stuff, but not so much that it makes it sound fuzzy or unnatural. Two other controls about the detection circuit. This is sort of the Q or the width. Lower values would zero in on just the SE part of things, and then higher values would be a little wider, so you'd get detection on sh and more whooshy kinds of sounds. So that's the width of the detection circuit. And then this is a frequency roll off the mode. If it's wide, you're getting a full range, full band. And if you head towards the split side, you're only looking at frequencies above 4K. So for de-essing, I mean, it's kind of great right in the middle, but you can adjust that to taste. I start with them fairly centered, and that seems to work pretty well. The look-ahead circuit is part of the intelligent algorithm. It introduces a tiny bit of latency, but it also allows the program to look ahead at the wave as it's coming, and then it's a little more elegant in its detection of the problem. So I keep look ahead on. And finally, we have a little speaker here which will solo the part that we're getting rid of. So we can adjust the controls while we're just listening to the S's and T's. So you can hear as I was adjusting the threshold down, I was getting a little bit more of the vowel sound, which I kind of don't want to touch. See, so right there, I'm just getting the S's and stuff. So that's a very valuable tool. Just zero in on what you're trying to clean up. And I put I like to put the de-esser late in the chain for me, because if I take the S's out early and then I boost the highs and stuff, sometimes they tend to creep back in and sound a little less natural, but that's a personal taste. Different engineers like to do it different ways. Some people like to do the cleaning part early and then EQ. And you can also just drag it around to different positions in the chain and see what sounds best. So let's listen to a couple of those lines from the verse again and watch what's going on up here. And you also have a display right here that's showing you how much work is going on.
You've got a spark inside, igniting fire. I know 'cause I've seen it.
It's still super clear, but it's not harsh.
You could be a force so great who makes waves if you would believe it. Don't leave those bright eyes on the wayside, staring up at the sun. Let your heart beat, move your feet, don't quit the fight till it's won. Hold your head up, never back down.
So I hope you see that Sibilance is super easy to use and super effective. I find it's my new go-to de-esser. So thanks, Waves, for the great new plugin. See you next time.
Don't